Welcome to the tutorial for the GoPro Hero10 Black. For those of you who haven't watched my videos before, my name is Jordan Hetrick and I'm the best-selling author of books about how to use GoPro cameras. So in this video, I want to help you get your camera set up and share some of my favorite tips and tricks for the Hero10 Black so you can get out there and start filming and capture some amazing photos and videos. The Hero10 Black is an innovative camera with unparalleled image quality, super slow motion settings, and stabilization that will make your videos just look fabulous. So I'm excited to help you get started. Let's check it out. The first thing I want to help you do is just unbox your camera and get the batteries charged so you can update the firmware and get this camera ready to go. The GoPro 10 comes in this packaging here, and inside it is a really nice travel case that's convenient to carry your GoPro in. So I'm going to open up the case, show you what comes with the kit, and we'll talk about all these things as we go through this video. So first of all, you'll just see that the camera needs to be updated before you can use it. And don't worry about that, I'm going to help you update your camera so it's ready to go. But this is standard when the cameras come out, they always need a firmware update. And this here, of course, is the Hero10 camera, which we'll check out in a minute and get that all set up. This is the USB charging cable for charging and transferring files. This is the battery for the Hero10 Black, which is the same battery as the Hero9. We'll talk about that too. This is a mounting buckle so you can mount your GoPro to a variety of mounts. And this is an adhesive mount, which I'll show you how to use in a little bit. And this here is the thumb screw, which you also use to mount your camera to the mounting buckle. You can just recycle this little piece that came with the packaging. Also, some of the kits come with a microSD card, and I'll tell you about the best microSD cards when we get over to inserting the card in the camera in just a second. So just go ahead and remove all the packaging that's on the camera. You can slide off this little paper sleeve here, peel off all the protective lens covers. There's one on the front lens cover, one on this front screen here, and one on the back screen. Now grab your battery and the microSD card. So if your camera came with a microSD card, it probably looks kind of like this. This is a nice starter card. It's 64 gigabytes, and it's enough to store quite a few files. The Hero10 Black requires a UHS 3 or a V30 microSD card, and it can go up to 512 gigabytes. So it's really important to get a nice high quality microSD card that's recommended by GoPro and compatible with the Hero10 Black. Because of the high resolution videos that you're recording on this, you need a card that can keep up. And having a card that's not the right one will cause your camera to freeze up. I'll put a couple links in the description below. If you want to step up to a higher capacity microSD card, I'll show you some of the recommended ones and you can go from there. So the battery and microSD card go under this door here on the side of the camera. To open that door, just pull the tab down and lift the door up. If you go too far, the door can pop off, and it's meant to, for attaching it to accessories such as the media mod. But right now we don't need to take the door off to put the battery and microSD card in. If it does come off by accident, you can just put it back on by lining up this little groove with the bar here and snapping it back into place. So take your microSD card with the text facing the back screen of the camera and insert it into this little slot right here. You just want to push it all the way down and it'll kind of click into place, and you'll see that it'll be lined up here with that top little ledge. Now grab the battery and make sure the GoPro logo on the battery and the camera are facing towards you, and open the side door and you can just slide the battery into the slot there. And it should go all the way flush down, just like that. So the Hero10 Black is an amazing camera. It produces super high quality footage, way better than any other GoPro yet. However, battery life is definitely one of the downsides of using this camera. And with the new processor that they put in, the battery life is actually even a little bit lower. But one of the great things about having a removable battery like this is when the battery runs out, you can just pull it out, put it in, swap in a new freshly charged battery, and continue filming. So I definitely recommend getting at least 1 or 2 spare batteries so that you have them on hand when that battery life runs out. Now we're going to use the USB cable that came with your camera to charge the battery. So take the little end, which is the USB-C, and put it into this port here below the battery under the side door. Take the other end of the cable, which is USB-A, and plug that into a wall charger, a power pack, or your computer to charge your camera. Once the camera is connected to power and starts charging, you'll see this little LED light come on here, and that indicates that your camera is charging. Now, because it's got a larger battery than some of the previous GoPro cameras, it's going to take a little bit longer to charge. It could take up to 2.5 hours to charge the battery the first time, and GoPros do come with a partial charge in the battery. But since we have to update the firmware, I want to make sure that your battery is fully charged so that the update process goes as smooth as possible. Go ahead and press pause on this video while your battery charges, and once you see that light turn off, you can come back to this video and continue on from there. While you're waiting, if you're enjoying this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos on how to use your GoPro cameras. Now that your camera is fully charged, go ahead and remove that USB cable and close up that side door. As long as that side door is securely closed, your camera is waterproof to 33 feet deep without any other housing. You definitely want to make sure that door is completely closed and you can't see any red there at the bottom of the door. And as long as that's closed, you're good to go. Now let's get your camera turned on. So on the side of the camera here is the power mode button. So just press that button to power on your camera, and we'll go through a few setup items. The first thing it's going to ask for is what language you want to use, so just scroll to your language and press the check mark. Then you can agree to legal terms and you can turn on GPS. Now it's saying update required, so we're going to go ahead and connect to the Quik app and update your camera's firmware. I'm going to show you how to update the firmware using the GoPro Quik app because I feel like that's the simplest way to update the camera's firmware. You can also do it using a computer if you go on GoPro's website, and you can manually update the firmware that way. But let's go ahead and do it with the Quik app. So if you don't have the Quik app on your phone or tablet yet, just go into your app store and search for the GoPro Quik app, and it looks like this. Once the app is downloaded, just go ahead and open up the app, and you'll see this camera icon in the top right corner. You can tap on that. Then you can just tap on pair your camera here, and because your camera is already in pairing mode, it should recognize your camera and prompt you to connect it. It's also going to prompt you to change the camera's name if you want to. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as it is. So if you don't have a Wi-Fi signal where you're at, make sure you go in and turn on the data so that you can use the data to download the camera update. So first, the update is just going to download to your phone, and then it's going to prompt you to update it onto your camera's firmware. You can press pause while this update downloads to the phone, and just follow the prompts to transfer it over to your camera once it's downloaded. Your camera will power on and off a few times, and it'll take a few minutes, but you'll see a check mark on the app when you're done, just saying that the process is complete, and your camera will power on and be ready to go. So once the update's complete, you can go ahead and close the app. I'm going to give you a little tour of the camera and show you some of its cool features. So the HERO10 Black looks exactly like the HERO9 Black, except it's got blue writing on it. So the camera body style is the same. The HERO10 has a front display screen that's really useful so you can see what you're filming when your camera's facing towards you. And you can change the settings of what that display is, and I'll show you that when we do the touchscreen tour here. This side of the camera has the battery door that I already showed you. On this side of the camera, you've got the power mode button, which we've used to turn on the camera already, and you can use to switch between modes. And I'll show you that too. Right below it looks like a door, but it's not. It's actually a microphone drain, so don't open that because you can easily break it off. But what that's for is just to allow water to drain out from the microphone after you've been underwater. Much like older GoPros, the HERO10 Black has a removable lens cover. But with this one, they added a really cool feature which is called a hydrophobic lens cover. So this lens cover actually repels water when it gets wet, so you don't have water drops in the way of your shots. It's been working really well so far. I've been using hydrophobic lens covers for a while, and I really like the way they produce super clear shots, and you don't have to lick the lens like you used to. As long as you keep that lens clean and buffed with a nice clean cloth and just don't touch it, it should do a really good job of repelling those water shots when it gets wet. The lens cover is removable. To unscrew it, you just kind of pull out and twist counterclockwise, and the lens cover comes off. So this is really convenient, so you can go ahead and add other filters like a neutral density filter or another lens like the Max Lens Mod. To put a lens cover back on, just put it on straight, twist it clockwise until it kind of tightens up to the camera. And you'll see that the gap closes there, so it'll be nice and tight close to that camera. There are also two LED lights, one on the front and one on the back, and these just let you know when you're recording videos or when your camera battery is charging. There's a microphone opening here and also one on the front for recording great audio. This button with the red circle is called the shutter button, and you press that to start recording and press it again to stop recording, or you press it to start taking photos. So these here on the bottom of the camera are called the mounting fingers. Anytime you want to mount your camera, you just flip them down, mount your camera. But then if you want to set your camera down, you just flip them up and you can set your camera down flat on a surface. And on the back here is the touch display screen, which you're going to use to change all of your settings and compose your shots. So I'm going to give you a tour of that now. If your camera is not already powered on, go ahead and press the power mode button on the side of the camera and your camera will power on. So this here is the main screen of the back touch display screen. And I'll show you what these icons mean just so you have a little understanding. In the top right here is a battery life icon, and that shows you how much battery life is remaining on your camera. In the middle here are the three main modes. Right now you'll see it's on video mode because you see that video camera icon. If you slide all the way to the left, you'll see the time-lapse modes, and if you slide over the other way to the right, you'll see the photo modes. I'm going to slide back to video mode. This icon at the top left here is your camera's microSD card storage. Right now it's showing that there's 2 hours and 36 minutes left because we're in video mode, and it's based on the current resolution you're in. This icon here in the middle is called a preset. And a preset is a batch of settings you're using for the current mode you're in. Presets are super convenient and much better than what you had to do in the past, which was just change all of your settings manually. Now you can save a batch of settings and switch between presets for different scenes that you're shooting. If you tap on the preset, you can just see a list of the presets that are available, and it comes with a few standard presets here. These are nice to start with, but I definitely like to add more presets so that I have every setting available almost, and I can just switch back and forth between the presets. In my book, I gave you a nice list of presets that you can just copy and add to your camera so that when you want to go out and record, you can just switch between those presets and only change a few of the key settings when you need to. So definitely check that out if you're interested. If you want to change the preset settings, you can just hold down on the preset and that'll go straight into the settings for that preset. If you want to go ahead and change the resolution settings, for example, you can just tap on this Res FPS icon, and on the top here you're going to see all the video resolutions available on the HERO10 Black. At the bottom here, these are the frame rates that you can change. When you're done changing your settings, you can press on this little back arrow icon here, or on the side of the camera, touch the power mode button, and that'll escape out of that menu. So these 4 circle icons on the screen are called on-screen shortcuts, and those are customizable with each of your presets. So you'll want to change these depending on which video resolutions you're using, because certain on-screen shortcuts are more useful for different presets. But I'll show you the ones that are on this screen just so you have an understanding of how they work and what they do. So in the middle left here, the one that has 1x, is an on-screen shortcut for changing the frame rate. So if you want to change over for slow motion video, you can just use this on-screen shortcut. The icon on the bottom left here is called the digital lens icon, and that's an easy way to change the look of your shots. So there are 5 digital lenses available. It goes from the top, which is the widest field of view. It's called super view, and it's super wide. So you'll see the most of your scene in the shot. And then it goes to wide, which is the standard GoPro lens. The next one down is linear, which is a digital lens that corrects some of the curvature in the shot, so you'll have straighter horizon lines. And the next one below that is called linear plus horizon leveling. This is the lens you can use to get straight horizon lines, and also it's going to keep that horizon level. So as your camera rotates, it'll keep the horizon at a straight line, which is really nice so you can get nice straight shots. And as long as your camera doesn't rotate more than 45 degrees, that horizon line is going to stay level. It's pretty amazing technology, and I really love this. It's even better on the HERO10 Black than any other GoPro. And the last lens on the bottom here is called the narrow lens, and that's going to be the tightest, most zoomed in shot for kind of less of a GoPro look. Over here on the right is a stabilization on-screen shortcut, so you can change the levels of stabilization by tapping on that and selecting your stabilization level. And on the bottom right is the touch zoom. So if you tap on that, you can just zoom in and out to kind of adjust your composition. Once you've got your settings ready to go and you want to start recording, press that top shutter button and your video will start recording. Press it again to stop recording, and your video will be saved to the camera's microSD card. If you swipe all the way to the left, you'll see the time-lapse modes. If you swipe all the way to the right, you'll see the photo modes. You can also switch between modes by pressing the mode button on the side of the camera, and it'll cycle through the 3 different main modes. Now if you go over to photo mode, you're going to see there's also a list of presets here. But the presets in photo mode and in time-lapse mode work a little differently. They actually define how you're going to record those shots. So you'll see there's a list of presets. And if you choose the top preset, which is photo mode, that's like single photo. So you'll take basically one photo with the press of the shutter button. This mode is great when you just want to get that one shot. And you have more outputs available, such as RAW, Super Photo, and HDR. Now burst mode is a really cool mode because you can take a quick burst of photos over a short period of time. Burst is a great mode to use for high action when you just want to catch that split moment and you want to get a nice photo of it. And you can also use it if you're making like action sequences where you want to merge together multiple shots. So the last photo mode down on the bottom is called night photo mode. And night photo mode is a really creative mode that you can use to get super cool shots because it allows you to keep that shutter open longer. With those long exposure shots, you can shoot in low light, you can get some really cool night shots, and you can also do light painting with it. I've got tons of tips for using these photo modes and creating really cool content with all of these modes in my book if you want to check that out and learn more. I'd love to show you everything here, but there's just so much to learn that it's hard to cover it all in one little video. Now if you slide over to the time-lapse modes, you'll see that there's also a batch of presets here. These are similar to the photo modes in that when you choose a preset, it actually is recording differently. There are 3 main presets in the time-lapse that they start with. The first preset in the time-lapse modes is called time warp. And time warp is the mode that you want to use for creating stabilized hyperlapses. This is a really creative mode. You can create some amazing content with it. and you just get to know this mode because you'll really love it. The next one down is called time-lapse mode. This is for longer time lapses, such as stationary scenes where you want to see those clouds moving. You just want to see like something that happens over a long period of time happen really quickly. And the next one down is called night-lapse mode. Night-lapse mode is basically a series of night photos. And night-lapse mode is also really cool. You can get really creative with it and create some really cool shots. Obviously in my book I've got lots of in-depth uses for all of these, but I just wanted to give you an overview of what each one is used for, and I hope that gives you a good little understanding. If you pull down from the top of the screen, that's going to show you your dashboard and preferences. So first you've got your little dashboard icons here, and these are little shortcuts to turn on and off certain features. The first one's voice control. You can turn the beeps on and off. You can use quick capture, which is the little bunny icon, and that just allows you to start recording by pressing the shutter button when your camera's turned off. It'll turn on and start recording. You've got the screen lock on the top right, which is for locking the screen, which is really useful for when you're in the water. The bottom left one is a grid icon, which will turn on a grid, so you can use that to compose your shots. This icon here with the little person in the box is the front screen display icons. So if you tap this icon, you can go in, you can change what's displayed on that front screen. Now this is really convenient. Sometimes you might want to turn it off. Sometimes you might want to see the settings. This option shows you the actual full screen of what you're recording. And the last option on the right here is just going to show you the center of the frame. So if you just want to make sure you're centered and you're looking like you want to look, you can use this option. If you did go from a Hero 9 to a Hero 10, you'll notice the front screen here is really smooth. So they were able to add higher resolution video on here because of the new processing chip. So even though it's just for reference, it's still nicer to look at. The next one over is called the orientation lock. That allows you to lock the horizon. So if you want to have a horizontal shot, you can lock it that way. Or if you want to rotate it vertical and lock it so you record vertical videos, you can use that icon there. And the bottom right icon is called the max lens mode. So if you got that max lens mod on there, you can tap that, and that's going to change the settings. So you'll have different settings available for the max lens mod. So the Hero 10 Black is compatible with the max lens mod, but we're still waiting for a firmware update with the settings for that on the Hero 10 Black. As soon as that's available, I'll make a video showing you the settings and how that works. So you can check the link here. If the link's available, then that max lens mod is ready to go. If you swipe over to the next screen, that's the connections and preferences menu. And also if you go into that connections menu, it's going to show you the connections. You can turn your Wi-Fi on and off, or put your camera back into pairing mode to connect with the app. And over in the preferences here, that gives you some of the general camera settings. You can change the display brightness and some other key settings that you might want to change. And then you can press the side mode button to escape out of that. Now if you pull up from the bottom of the screen, that's going to access the media that's on your camera's microSD card. So once you tap on one of your thumbnails, it'll go in and give you some icon options here. At the top right is a really cool thing they've added with the Hero 10, which is the info, and it actually shows you all of the settings for that particular file. So it's really nice if you recorded something and you like how it came out. You can go in and mimic your settings and just make sure that everything else you filmed for that shot is at the same settings. If you go in and view a photo, you can double tap on it to zoom in a little bit to see your photo. You can't pinch and zoom, unfortunately. I hope they add that feature. Then you can just double tap and zoom back out. While you're composing, if you want to clear off all these icons, you just tap on the screen and the icon will be clear. Then you can tap it again for those icons to come back up. Once you're done recording, you want to turn your camera off. Just hold down the power mode button on the side of the camera for about 3 to 4 seconds and your camera will power off. Now let's talk about mounting your GoPro Hero 10. So the Hero 10 Black just comes with a few limited mounting pieces. It comes with a mounting buckle here, a thumb screw, and a curved adhesive mount. So to mount your camera, just lower these mounting pieces here and slide them into the grooves on a mounting buckle. You can actually also mount it direct to certain mounts depending on how the mount is set up. And then just line up the holes and insert the thumb screw and tighten that thumb screw down. If you're setting up your camera somewhere that it's mounted, you're going to want to adjust the angle first, and then you really want to tighten that thumb screw super tight so your camera doesn't move from that position once you're out in action. So the Hero 10 Black comes with a curved adhesive mount, which is curved on the base and used mostly for mounting to helmets or other curved surfaces, such as sometimes on the front of a vehicle. There's also flat adhesive mounts available which have a flat base, and those are used for flat surfaces. And you'll probably want to get some of those because those are probably more useful even than the curved adhesive mount. You can tell the difference between the curved and the flat one. The curved one is more rectangular, whereas the flat one is more oval shaped. Adhesive mounts are typically used for more permanent mounting spots, like some of your own equipment where you just want to keep it mounted on there and you can slide your camera in anytime you want to get footage. So as long as you mount the adhesive mounts properly, they're not going to come off. You just want to make sure that the surface you're mounting it to is smooth, non-porous, and non-flexible. Make sure it's nice and smooth and dry. Then decide where you want to mount your camera and line it up so your mount is in the right location. Once you've decided where you want to mount your camera, just peel off this adhesive and push it down on the surface. You just want to push it down nice and evenly, get it to kind of tack up a little bit there. Then press it down firmly and let that adhesive mount sit there for 24 hours at least before you go and use it. So once your adhesive mount is fully cured and on the surface, just take your mounting buckle, lift up this black locking plug and slide it into place. When you get the mounting buckle all the way in there, you'll see that these little clips kind of snap into place and you'll hear a little click. That'll let you know that your camera is fully in that base. Tighten it super tight into place and you're ready to go. You'll definitely want to get some more mounts, and one of the first one I'd recommend is a handle or a pole. Here's a few of GoPro's main handles. So you've got the shorty, which is closest here. Then you've got the 3-way, which is an extendable one. It's got kind of a foldable arm, so you can make that mount kind of disappear out of the shot. And then you've got El Grande in the back here, which is a super long extendable pole, so you can get your camera further away from you for a farther away perspective. And some of these also double as tripods, which is really convenient, so you can set your camera down when you want to get those stationary shots, and then pick it up when you want to go and get handheld shots. You'll see there's two different ways to attach your camera to the poles depending on how the pole's set up. On the shorty there's a direct to the pole mount, so you just attach your camera direct. Whereas on the 3-way and El Grande, you'll see that there's a mounting buckle there, and that slides into a little base. If you do end up getting an extendable handle like this one, and you use it in the water or in really sandy or muddy conditions, before you close that pole, make sure that you rinse it really well and get all the sand off of there. I've ruined several poles by closing it up when there's sand in those little seams there. Once you get it in there, it just gets stuck and it's hard or almost impossible to open or close that pole again. The HERO10 Black is fully waterproof up to 33 feet deep without any extra housing. But if you are going deeper than that, you can use this protective housing that allows you to take your camera down to 196 feet deep. So if you're diving, for example, and you're going deeper, definitely put your camera inside of this housing to protect it. But if you're in shallow water, snorkeling, or in the waves, you don't need to use this protective housing. And an important thing to know is that the GoPro HERO10, like all other GoPro cameras, does not float. So if you're going in the water, it's nice to have something that will float your camera. If you're mounting your camera onto a surface and you're not using a handle, you can use this floaty here, which will float your camera if it's lost. But the floaty is kind of bulky, so if I am using a handle, I'd rather just go with a floaty handle that'll float my camera like this one. When you lose it, it'll come up to the surface and you can find your camera. So now that you've got your camera all set up and you understand the basics of using it, why don't you go out there and test it out? Shoot some videos, take some photos, have fun with it, get some cool footage. When you come back, I'll show you how to transfer your footage over to a phone, tablet, or computer. Now that you've gone out and used your GoPro a little bit, I'm going to show you how to transfer your photos and videos over to a phone or tablet using the Quik app. If you want to transfer your files over to a computer, you can just use a USB cable to connect your camera over to the computer. So since you've connected to the Quik app when you were updating the firmware, when you go over to the Quik app and open it up, and you go to the cameras, it should show that your camera is found. If it's not found, usually you can turn your camera on and that'll allow the Quik app to see your camera again. If you do need to reconnect your camera to the Quik app, just swipe down from the top screen and go under Connections, and then just make sure it's under the GoPro Quik app. And that's going to put your camera back into pairing mode. So once your camera is found, you'll see here at the top of the screen, it's going to tell you if there's new footage on your camera. So you could download it that way. There's also these three icons here. But now tap on the View Media and let's go ahead and look at the media that's on the camera's microSD card and get it transferred. When you tap on View Media, it's going to show thumbnails of all the images on your camera's microSD card. If you've got a lot of images, it might take a few minutes to load just because there's a lot of files on there. So you can scroll through your images and you can tap on one that you want to look at, and it's going to show you a bigger thumbnail. So there are a few options here at the bottom of the screen. If you tap on this one, this will download the footage. It'll allow you to save it to the GoPro Quik app. If you're going to edit it in the Quik app, go ahead and save it to the Quik app, and then it's in there, and you can mix it together with other GoPro shots or other shots from your camera. I've got another video about the GoPro Quik app that's got everything you need to know about that. So you can check that out if you want to go more into the Quik app. But right now I'm just going to show you how to transfer the footage. If you click download, it's going to save it into the media library here on the app. You can then go in and you can create a clip from it. You can edit it into slow motion, or you can mix it with other clips to create a little GoPro edit. Also new with the HERO10 Black, you can now use a wired connection to transfer media over to your phone or tablet. If you're on an iPhone or iPad, you can use a Lightning to USB-C cable, and if you're on an Android device, you can use a USB-C to USB-C. This wired connection is going to allow you to transfer files much faster than if you're on a Wi-Fi connection. Be sure to check out my book for the HERO10 Black. The link is in the video description below, and it's got everything you need to know about using this camera and creating amazing content with it. So I encourage you to go check it out if you really want to take your footage and your video making to the next level. Thanks for watching, have fun GoProing, and talk to you next time.